One night, American bombers crossed continents, struck deep into Scratch. But behind this silent firestorm was a detail that shocked even the Pentagon. But the start of a new chapter in military power and gender history. Let's find out with Navy secrets. 2025, the U.S. military launched one of its most daring Operation Midnight Hammer. The operation was detected nuclear sites in one coordinated strike. It wasn't just. This was a strategic decision to slow down Iran's nuclear development and its allies. The targets were deep underground facilities and critical equipment. The U.S. relied on the B-2 Spirit stealth bombers and cruise missile submarines in the Mediterranean. The mission took months of planning, but everything moved. B-2 bombers flew directly from Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri, crossing thousands of miles without stopping. These air abilities, making them ideal for such a mission. At the same time, of Tomahawk cruise missiles from underwater positions. Missiles hit with pinpoint accuracy and were timed to strike almost simultaneously. The longest B-2 combat mission since the early 2000s. Each bomber carried a special payload for underground targets, while the cities like control centers and communication hubs. Coordinated attack that shocked Iran's military. The operation was carefully timed at night to have the chance of interception. Imagery and intelligence reports suggest the targets were successfully destroyed or severely damaged. And officials have yet to confirm full details. The strikes appear to have hit. Operation Midnight Hammer showed the power of U.S. long-range strike capabilities in precision and secrecy. This mission may be remembered as a significant turning point in the region's balance of much more dangerous game. But beyond historic was something no satellite could capture, a moment that for the first time in history, the U.S. Air Force used its most powerful bunker. This bomb, officially known as the Massive Ordnance Penetrator, MOP, weighs 30,000 pounds, deeply buried targets like nuclear bunkers. Its appearance in Operation Midnight Hammer was not just the MOP was carried and dropped by the B-2 Spirit stealth bomber, an aircraft built to handle missions like this. The bomb reinforced concrete before detonating, making it one of the only weapons capable of reaching Iran's hidden nuclear infrastructure. In the Fordo and Natanz nuclear sites, both believed to be underground. The B-2 bomber flew directly from Missouri and traveled halfway around the world to carry out the strike. For hours, the aircraft remained undetected by radar thanks to its stealth design. Once in range, the bomb was released at a high altitude, and its precision guidance MOP hit. It didn't just make a hole. It shattered layers what regular bombs could not. Military analysts say the message. Iran had placed key nuclear materials and equipment deep underground, hoping the MOP proved otherwise. It showed there's no safe place when the U.S. and the right tools. The choice to use such a bomb also speaks to how seriously the Pentagon viewed the threat. Destruction, but precision and impact. It takes a skilled crew, perfect timing, and detailed intelligence. Every part of this operation, from satellite tracking to final detonation, was tightly coordinated. The B-2 and its deadly cargo reminded the world that the U.S. still leads in, but what made this mission even more remarkable was what was dropped. Who was flying the plane? A female pilot was behind the controls of a B-2 bomber in a real combat mission. A Spirit bomber in a combat mission for the first time, marking a significant milestone in U.S. military history. Placed during Operation Midnight Hammer, when American forces struck key nuclear. Her name is not publicly released for security reasons, but multiple defense sources confirm her role. Flying the B-2 requires high training and experience, and the status of gender. The female pilot who joined this mission was chosen because she met every physical for any symbolic purpose. She was fully qualified, ready for complex strike operations in recent years. The B-2 Spirit community is tiny, with only a few hundred pilots trained. Out of all those, only about 10 have been women, according to Air Force data. But not just rare, but groundbreaking. For years, off-limits to women. That has slowly changed, but seeing a woman participate in a real stealth bombing run, far things have come. This wasn't a train, it was a high-risk, long-range strike with global attention. 30 hours, manage in-air refueling, operate advanced weapons. Everything had to be done perfectly, and she delivered, internally by commanders who focus only on performance, not gender. The significance of her flight. It signals a shift in how the public views women, despite some lingering debate over women in combat. What matters most. She didn't just break barriers, she flew straight through them. Quick transition to part 4, and she wasn't the only woman on this mission, but in history aboard submarines. While the B-2 bomber led the air assault in Operation Midnight Hammer, another group of sea female sailors were part of the submarine crews that launched cruise missiles at Iran's nuclear sites, marking evolution. Armed with Tomahawk missiles, these submarines played a critical role in the strike, firing selected targets. Until 2010, women were barred entirely from service. The service was considered too secretive and intense, with concerns about privacy and close quarters. But that changed over the last decade. Officers and enlisted sailors serve in submarine units. Operation proves that those early efforts at integration have led to real results. Participated in the strike were not chosen to make a statement. They earned their positions through tough training, and every sailor had to be skilled in missile systems, combat procedures, and undersea navigation. During the mission were coordinated with precision, showing that these women were competent in one of the most challenging environments. Security concerns prevent the military from sharing the exact roles. Submarine knit, so that any personal information could risk their safety. Confirmed that women took active roles in this high-profile mission. Their presence marks a decisive shift. Once seen as a male-only domain, submarines are now part of a broader effort to open elite from launching missiles to operating sonar and guiding navigation. Female sailors proved they could help. According to top Pentagon leaders, it's not about gender, it's about performance, discipline, and trust. The U.S. military has made it clear that service members are based on their ability, not gender. Again underlined during Operation Midnight Hammer, when male and female personnel were involved in one of the most. Officials from the Pentagon stressed that every pilot, sailor, strict physical and technical standards before participating in the mission. Defense leaders, including senior Air Force and Navy, was placed in the operation for public image. They were there because they proved they could handle the job. Every B-2 pilot had to complete hundreds of hours of flight training, pass simulation tests, and earn experience among B-2 crews. Likewise, submarine crews trained in secrecy and under pressure for navigation. In recent hearings, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth for all troops. His earlier comments suggesting that women shouldn't be in combat were met with nation. He agreed that ability should be the only factor. It's all about performance, he said during a House Armed Services Committee session put into action. The women who flew B-2 bombers and launched cruise missiles were not symbols. They were essential team members, with the same risks and responsibilities as everyone else in the strike. The mission's success proved that training and discipline, not gender. Even retired officers who once questioned women in combat have begun acknowledging the results. Values are not limited to any group when the mission requires precision, trust, and resilience. As one senior commander noted, in a dark cockpit or deep underwater, it does can do. Despite growing recognition, the numbers still show that women in these elite roles remain even with recent breakthroughs, women still represent a small fraction of the elite crews flying B-2 Marines. The numbers show how rare these roles even in 2025. Air Force Global Strike Command says have ever flown the B-2 Spirit stealth bomber. This includes pilots with complete certifications. The B-2 pilot community is already small, ever assigned a Spirit number, which marks their qualification to fly this strategic aircraft. Being part of that group requires years of and trust from the highest levels of command. The fact that so few women have earned this place shows how hard the path remains. Similar challenge. While women are now serving on submarines, reports from the Pentagon confirm that around 800 female sailors currently serve aboard submarines. This is a step forward from the pre-2010 era when women were banned from submarine duty. Presence is still minimal compared to the thousands of male submariners. Reflect not just recruitment issues, but also the demanding standards of the roles. Both submarine operations and B-2 missions, strong physical health, and the ability to endure high-pressure environments for long periods. That's why even male candidates face a high tension. Female service members who make it through these challenges are not just rare, they are some of the most capable in the force. But the road to full integration is not complete. Military leaders continue to work on improving access to long-term career options for women in these specialized fields. While the military recognizes their value, securing their identity in today's volatile global environment. The U.S. military has chosen not to release the names of the female Midnight Hammer, and that decision is based on serious security concerns. Explained that since the B-2 Spirit pilot community and submarine crews are very small, revealing any specific identity could make those individuals, especially by hostile actors or foreign intelligence services. Most secretive and high-value assets in the Air Force, and pilots flying it, are considered strategic personnel. B-2 pilots in history and even fewer women. Just mentioning a name could instantly narrow down who was part of the mission. Especially given the ongoing tensions in the Middle East, and with Similarly, female submarine crews are still relatively new and limited in number. Women now serve aboard Navy submarines. The number of experienced officers with the qualifications to participate is much smaller. For example, the U.S. Navy has senior positions on nuclear subs, such as executive officers or chiefs of the boat. This makes any public mention of them. Many of these troops will likely be deployed again or assigned to other covert operations. Usefulness in future missions and put their safety at risk. Military sources confirmed that the Pentagon for withholding their identities. The approach of the military toward protecting both male and female members in high-profile roles. In the past, female service members have faced harassment, online threats, and even doxing when their names became public after combat. The Department of Defense is working to prevent such exposure from becoming a security gap. While the public may find the operation, the priority remains on mission integrity, and these women were selected for their skill and courage, not for media. Their best protection is silence. Even without names, their presence and military is changing, and who is helping lead the way forward? Success of Operation Midnight Hammer shows that real progress is being made in U.S. military, especially in elite combat roles. Women were either sidelined or entirely barred from joining top-tier units or submarine strike teams for many years. Those restrictions are no longer the norm. What matters now is what you bring to the table. Women were not added to check a box or meet a quota during this complex and highly coordinated strike. They were chosen because they had earned their place through skill, discipline, and unmatched during the mission sent a strong message. The battlefield now belongs to anyone capable, not just one group. It was not a symbolic move but a real sign of trust in their abilities. In the case of the B-2, one of the most advanced bombers in the world, into actual combat, says B-2 Spirit requires long-term training, precision thinking, and top physical condition. Seeing a woman behind the controls and such trust in her. The same can be said for the women on board the submarines, who had to carry out missile launches. These aren't support roles, they are frontline responsibilities. What makes this even more important is the shift in performance. High command is moving away from outdated ideas and focusing more on results. Officers and commanders now see accurate readiness measures. And Operation Midnight Hammer, there were no leaks, missteps, or breakdowns. Only perfect execution by a well-prepared team has also changed. Many people in and outside the military have expressed pride and support for the women involved. While the knowledge that they played key roles has encouraged a growing respect for this moment inspired younger generations and reminded military families that their kids can also serve honorably. More than just a successful strike, Operation Midnight Hammer has become a symbol of a military that's the future of U.S. defense. Not divided by gender, but united by mission, training. America looks ahead to future missions. One thing is clear. When the call comes, the best will answer. No matter, Midnight Hammer was more than just a military strike. It was a coordinated effort. The U.S. military demonstrated its unmatched ability to hit hardened targets with speed, precision, and power. Halfway around the world, to submarines launching cruise missiles from deep below full reach of American force. But what made this mission it was the people behind them. For the first time, female pilots and submariners took leading roles in wars. They were not there as symbols but professionals who earned their place through skill and discipline. Armed forces. One where gender no longer defines who can lead or serve in elite combat roles. This mission sent a clear message to allies, adversaries, to defend national interests with strength, unity, and the best team possible, regardless of who wears the uniform. The battlefield. And that's what Navy Secrets wanted to share with you today. Bring insights backed by in-depth analysis from top military strategists and political experts. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like. Support is what drives us to keep creating more high-quality and in-depth content. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And stay tuned for our next video. See you soon.